Hello, I'm Natalie Vega O'Neill, President and CEO of Junior Achievement of Washington. We're so excited to be partnering with Delta Airlines and the Seattle Seahawks to bring this month's Community Captain. This month's focus is on education, and Junior Achievement mission focuses on financial literacy, work and career readiness, and entrepreneurship. We're really excited to bring DJ Kelly Goodman, a JA student, here to facilitate our panel with career experts from Delta Airlines and the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to hand it over to DJ, who's going to introduce himself, and then the panelists will introduce themselves as well. Take it away, DJ.
Hello, my name is DJ. I'm 14, and I like to make music, and it's really just a dream to kind of be in this area right now. So, yeah.
Great.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, DJ. Jameson Anya from Delta Airlines, the General Manager for In-Flight Services here in Seattle, with Delta Airlines for about 3 years, but in the industry for a lot older than you are. Thanks for letting me be here today.
Thank you, DJ, for including us on your panel. Excited to be here. My name is Karen Spencer, and I am the CFO of the Seahawks and First and Goal that operates Lumen Field. And I've been with the Seahawks, well, we refer to seasons, and this is my 31st season with the Seahawks. So.
Hi, DJ. I'm Helda Durham. I'm the Director of Operations here with Delta Airlines. Thank you so much for having us. It is exciting to be here, and I'm going on my 8th month in Seattle, so I'm really looking forward to hearing from you.
What's up, DJ? My name is Mo Kelly, and this is my 17th season with the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm the Vice President of Player Engagement.
Okay, so I have some questions for you guys.
Awesome.
And we're going to start with, how do you like to have fun?
I can start. Well, working for Delta Airlines, as you know, what do you think is my favorite thing to do? Travel. So traveling is one of my favorite things to do. We, my family and I, any opportunity that my children have off from school, or if we're able to take a vacation, we're on a plane going somewhere fun and exciting. We visited about 12 countries thus far, so we're looking forward to visiting even more. So, yep.
I'll jump in, and I love flying Delta.
Thank you.
And we love to travel as well. I love hanging out with my son, my wife, and we just like traveling and being outside.
Great, I'll go ahead and go. Well, I'm a little bit more of a homebody, but I love Delta as well.
Thank you.
When I do fly. But when I'm not watching football, and typically football's fun, sometimes it can be a little stressful, but when not doing that, I have 3 dogs, and they're all named after Seahawks players. So I'm outside with them and my husband. We live in Maple Valley, so there's a lot of trails that we have access to, so a lot of hiking, running, and just being outdoors.
And of course, I like going to Seahawks games. That's fun, right? No, I actually like to travel as well. I have a group of friends that for about 10 or 15 years, our birthdays are pretty well spaced apart. So we go and meet up someplace fun. So we've been friends for all these years. So yeah, it's just good to get out with your buddies and have some fun and then explore a different place.
That's nice. Thank you all for those wonderful answers. So, what were you like when you were my age?
So 14, what's 9th grade?
Yes.
9th grade. I'm gonna say this kind of low because my son is sitting over there. So at 14, I was a little guy. I was 4'11", 97 pounds, but I was a little terror. I was into everything, every sport known to man, I played. So I was an athlete. I was undersized, but I was scrappy.
Who did you look up to for inspiration or mentorship during your younger years?
You know, I immigrated here to the States when I was about 10. And my family really didn't know what it was like to be an American. So who they tried to get me to emulate were folks on TV and all-American, who they felt are all-American folks. So unfortunately, I was all but that. I was kind of scrawny. I had a speech impediment. I was kind of introverted. So I happened to go to a summer camp, and I didn't have the benefit of a junior achievement or anything, or mentorship program that would help me along, right? So I went to a summer camp, and one of the camp counselors who had come to find out he was actually played football, and I said, I really want to be an American. And he's like, what does that mean to you? What do you, I guess maybe play sports? And he said, okay, so which sport? I said, a sport? I don't care, any sport, right? So he had me first start out trying to play soccer, and I didn't feel like, well, I could run a marathon every game, right? So okay, soccer was not my thing. Baseball, the ball was a little small, and yes, I could be a good second baseman, but that ball coming at me pretty fast was a little scary. So he taught me to play football. He actually played football. And come to find out, I could actually sprint pretty fast, and I had good hand-eye coordination, and that's what he taught me. So he actually mentored me to learn how to play sports, and that's what helped me actually get over my shyness. It helped me in school, actually, because I gained some confidence as well. So I say that Skip, this guy that became a really good friend, still a friend for life, is the guy that actually helped mentor me, because he helped me get over a lot of the initial stigma of coming here, not really knowing what it is to be an all-American kid, and here I am.
Great.
What type of student were you?
I wasn't the best because I didn't apply myself. I only started applying myself when it made sense. My mom was an educator, and so her thought was, if you don't get the grades, you're not playing. And so she taught me a lesson one time that I'll never forget. I was preparing myself for a championship baseball game, and I got in trouble. I think I had a bad grade on a test, and she said, I'm going to get you for that. And so Monday came, Tuesday came, Wednesday came. So I'm like, she forgot. I'm the baby of 4. So I just assumed she forgot. And Saturday came, and if you know anything about sports, so I had my uniform out on Friday. I laid it all out. Saturday morning, I'm ready to go to the game. Boys in the neighborhood came and rang the doorbell. Let's go. I'm ready. I go give her a kiss. I'll see you at the game. And as I'm walking out, she says, hold on a second. Where are you going? I said, I'm going. It's the championship game. She was like, oh, you remember earlier in the week? Oh, you're not going. Now go tell your friends why you're not going. Now this is the championship game.
Oh my God.
So my buddies are trying to negotiate. You think if we? No. She can hear us in the room, right? And so she made me go to the game, sit in the stands, and watch us lose the championship. Yeah. So that was a hard lesson, that I had to learn, that it wasn't all about me, and so from that point forward, she never had to say anything to me again about grades. So I did enough just to get by. It was enough to get to college, and a part of the prerequisites of being able to be eligible to play is that you have to have your grades, and so that was my motivation. My motivation was I wanted to play. This was something that was meaningful to me, and so I did what I needed to do. Went on to college, graduated in 4 years, never went to summer school, not because I was the smartest, because it was something that was hanging over my head that I had to get done.
Yeah.
That's one way to learn a lesson.
I remember you telling us that story.
What goals do you think are important to have for someone my age?
Well, dream big, but maybe set some realistic goals that you can attain, so you at least see yourself making some progress, whether it's related to your education or your fitness, or just something that you can sort of measure how you're doing along the way, because I think it helps to say, okay, I accomplished this, and sort of check that off and then move on. We have, I'm sure many of you have heard of the term SMART goals, and that's what's used in many businesses, and that means that they should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and then time-focused. So it just kind of helps sometimes to then be able to look back and say, yeah, I did this. So, but dream big, don't limit yourself.
What's the most important risk you took and why?
I took a risk about 5 years ago of really stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm a mother of 3 adult children, and I was busy raising them, and when they were done with school and getting ready to go off to college, I felt that it was time for me to kick off my career again. And I stepped out of my comfort zone by taking a position that was away from home, several thousand miles away from home 5 years ago. And since then, I've actually taken 15 different stations and airports. This is my 15th airport. And what I will tell you is it's okay to step out of your comfort zone. You will always have a support system. To what Jamison is saying, at Delta, we care for our people, and we always have someone that is there for us that we can pick up the phone and call and get advice from and network. So don't be afraid to take a chance.
What's one thing that makes you most proud?
And I'll say one personal and professional, and a personal one was to watch my nephew graduate from boot camp. He had always wanted to go in the military, and it was really heartwarming to see him be able to fulfill his dream of serving his country. So really like that one. And also very much like Helda had talked about, very proud of the fact that I work for a company that didn't furlough any employees, even through one of the toughest times that we went through. That employees said, you know, I'm at a point where I can actually take a furlough and leave the company at this point so that others can continue their job, and they went ahead and did it. So self-sacrifice was part of the Delta culture. And also that when we needed someone to work in catering, folks said, you know, I'll work in catering for a while if we're not flying. So people just really pulled together. And that was, you know, that just speaks to the heart of Delta and who we are as a people. Yeah. And I'm really proud to be that part of that kind of organization. Very much speaks to the same thing in my nephew and going to serve his country.
How do you continue to grow and develop as a leader?
I would say for me is I think I'm a pretty good listener, you know, and with listening, I learn a lot. You know, I was just telling one of our players today that as much wisdom as I've had over the years and being in this job, I learn more from them by listening, you know, and so I just think that you can continue to grow by listening.
I couldn't agree more. Some advice that I received once along the way was that when you're in a position to hire someone smarter than you. Yes. And I took that to heart. You know, don't be intimidated that someone may outshine you. You can always learn from them, and so it's sort of it helps with your growth as well. Mm-hmm. And then I would also say just, continue to take risks, do things, step outside your comfort zone, mm-hmm. do things that scare you, and don't be afraid to fail. We learn from our mistakes, we're gonna make them, but you just have to pick yourself up and move on.
What are some things you guys are passionate about?
Ooh.
Is that a question?
He stumped us with a good one.
I'm passionate about helping people. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that I always thought my passion was playing football, but football was just a platform for me to find my true passion, which is helping people. You know, and so it's just the method behind the madness. You know, you sit and you think, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and then you get that opportunity, and then you really find out, like, what is your true passion? Like, so a passion gets you up every morning and go to work. Mm-hmm. Like, I love what I do. Every morning I wake up, I'm blessed to be able to go into that building and be able to pour into these young men. So I would definitely say that's my passion.
Really, at the end of the day, whether you're with the Seahawks organization, whether you're with Junior Achievement, whether you're with Delta, we're all in the people business. And I think people are our passion. Mm-hmm. Serving people, being servant leaders, being empathetic, all those different values that say that we care about people mm-hmm. are what our passion is, because we wouldn't be doing, I think, what we're doing. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing if we didn't, at the end of the day, weren't people.
If you could do anything differently, what would it be?
I always wanted to play an instrument, and I never did. And I'm actually going to be at a milestone birthday this November, and so I finally signed up to play my first instrument of my life. And I don't know that you'd call it, but I'm going to learn to play the piano, which is something I've always been very passionate about. So looking forward to that.
I think earlier in life, realize that I need to be the best version of myself, and the version of myself that I want to be, not someone else's version of me. I think that's the thing I would have tried to learn a lot earlier in life. and to make sure that any mistake I made was actually a learning lesson. I like those pieces too.
Yeah, definitely. Learning from mistakes is one thing that I've done a lot, and I'm only 14. So, how do you keep your team motivated despite conflicts and obstacles?
I mean, I know this word is overused, but just communicate. And again, I use last year as an example, just over communicating, checking in with everybody to see how they're doing, and instead of focusing so much on the challenges and the conflicts, just recognize the wins, the things that people do right. I think you just have to, face those conflicts head on and deal with them and not avoid them. And collaborate.
And at Delta, we really we look at each other as a family. And I think as the Seahawks and other organizations, they look at each other as part of the family. And as a family, you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have times that are better than others. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. But at the end of the day, you're a family, right? And that's how we got through this last year. Because we looked at each other as a Delta family, we all pulled together. When we had bad days, we all gathered around, put our arm around each other and said, tomorrow's going to be a better day. And when we had good days, we took time to celebrate those and say, nice job, let's keep going, let's keep doing this, let's get through all of this together. But like I said, when you look at each other as a family, you can get through pretty much every obstacle as a family, because at the end of the day, they're going to have your back.
What one book can you recommend for me to read?
I would say my recommendation would be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You just look it up, take some time to read it. It'll be monumental for you.
What is your favorite Seahawks game day memory?
I
guess
that's
I'll go
yours.
first. I don't know what year it was, but it was the NFC Championship game against Green Bay. And we were like the worst team ever for like 3.5 quarters. And our guys just kept fighting their tail off. And we stayed close in that game. And we were able to come back, forcing into overtime. Russell threw a touchdown to Jermaine Kearse to walk off the field, sending us back to the Super Bowl. That was like the best game ever. We didn't win the Super Bowl that year, but it was the best game ever.
I think I remember that game.
Yeah, that was amazing.
What do you think are the most important attributes of successful leaders today?
At Delta, we really, as a matter of fact, just before this event today, we were at a leadership development session on site at the airport. And we had about 36 new leaders. And the one thing we really push is just to have, one, you have to really, make sure you understand the culture of Delta, and taking care of people is our number one, right? Working safely, right? We want to make sure that we're instilling that in our leaders as well. But really innovation and not being afraid to take that chance of presenting an idea that is a forward thinking. As we change, as technology changes, we're continuing to change with that as well. And so there's no wrong ideas, there's no bad ideas, and so we want everyone to know that they have a voice, and we want to hear you and what is your idea. And so we look for leaders that not necessarily just want to take care of the company and our people for the here and now, but for the 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and what is that thinking like? So really strategically thinking through what does our future look like.
So, how do you generate great ideas?
Well, I'll start with, looked like he was looking at me, right?
he knows you generate great
like
ideas.
This way, right? So I actually believe that it's what's called Kaizen bursts, basically. And you just get a bunch of people together to address a common idea, and you just throw out a bunch of ideas. You don't discount any of them. Just throw out as many ideas as you can. And then at the end, you kind of sort through the ideas to see which one sticks, which one works, and which one actually improves the process.
And my answer is somewhat contrary to yours, because I think, again, there's some people, again, work so differently, and my personality type is that I think my best ideas come to me when I'm by myself, like if I'm out running, and often it's stimulated by something that I did wrong or I'm just like agonizing over, so I'm just like, desperately trying to figure out how to avoid making that mistake again and doing things better. And I find that I'm much more focused when I'm by myself than when I'm in a larger group. I mean, trust me, brainstorming totally has its place, and we do a lot of it. But I think for me personally, I'm better off coming up with ideas on my own. So.
I would say, for me, the best ideas that I find come from our people. When I listen to some of our frontline employees and I mean frontline employees are agents that are out there helping our customers board flights or check them in or handling their baggage, they can really come up with some ideas because they're right there doing the job. And so they can come up with some really great ideas of how we can do things differently. And I love that because I want people to feel comfortable voicing their opinion and being able to speak to ideas and be able to not to be afraid of sharing anything. And so we find, at least I find, value in that because 9 times out of 10 we end up running with that idea and making it a process, and then it becomes a company policy. So it's from the people that you work with.
It's a great answer.
Well,
Okay.
Mine is kind of a combination of the two. Again, goes back to listening and listening to our players and getting some different ideas from them. But I'm like Karen as well. When I'm by myself and I'm out for a run or I'm out walking, I have a million ideas. So when I'm walking, I have to write them down. I have to mention it in my phone. I have such clarity when I'm by myself and I'm working out or out walking or out for a run.
Thank you.
So, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank
us.
you.
You did a great
It's a
job.
Very good experience. You guys taught me some things actually, so I'm glad I came here.
Good. That's
Get the
wonderful
tape,
to hear.
go back and watch it. Study the tape.
That's exactly.